Hey guys, oh my goodness. Okay, this week I am sharing a popular question that gets asked to me from, I think, well, some of you, and then from outside sources as well. And so because I've been asked this question before and it just recently popped back up again, I was like, I think I'm going to address this question, because if a handful of people have the question, I'm sure there are more, and I want to help, right? I want to be a solution. So the question that I'm going to be talking about today is, how did I get where I am today in my business? And what does a normal day in the life look like as a star director? I'm not going to lie. I asked myself that same question when I was starting to really look at my Scentsy business as a business income. Okay. I believe I had promoted to a lead consultant by that time. I joined in 2012, for those of you who haven't followed along on my journey. I've been here for a hot minute. But I joined, and I did not join thinking or even having the idea that this was either going to be a full-time income, a part-time income, really anything other than I'm going to probably sell some Scentsy when my friends ask about it. And I really wanted in more on the community aspect, because I'm a mom. At the time when I joined, well, I mean, I still do. I had 3 children who were obviously under 18, right? And so I had just gone through a really rough divorce. So my 2 oldest children, with my ex-husband, we were doing that whole battle, which, you know, some of you can probably relate to. And my husband and I, we had Madison, who was at the time about 1.5, 2 years old. And I was finding myself really, I mean, it was a moment in my life when I look back, when I really reflect on it, right? After going through and coming out of a really bad marriage of almost 10 years, basically restarting my life, honestly, having a baby again. It had been 9 years. Like my son was 9 when Madison was born. So, you know, that was a big gap of trying to do the whole I have a baby again thing. So I really found myself stuck. Like, where does Jacqui fit in with everything, right? I had the kids, so I had my mom hat. I had, you know, we weren't married at the time, but, you know, for all intents purposes, right? My husband, right? I had that hat on. I had a full-time job. And I really didn't know where I fit in to everything. Because, and maybe some of the men here can feel a little bit of this as well. I think men get a little underrated when it comes to, you know, how they balance home and life. Whereas we as women, we really get the brunt of, you know, the whole work-life balance thing, right? Like, we're supposed to know it all. We're supposed to know how to do it all. Spoiler alert, you don't, right? You literally muddle through, you go day by day, and that's really honestly how it gets done, right? So I really didn't know where the Jacqui was in everything. And so for me, having the community of Scentsy was one of the biggest things that really drew me to hit that join button. Not necessarily because I wanted that, you know, income, or I was like, oh, this is going to be a full-time thing for me someday. Like, I really was like, there's no way. There's no way, for one, I'll even ever make a director, or I'll ever do this and I'll make real money, right? Like, I'll never be that person. Well, here to tell you, I am living proof that even if you stomp your heels and kick your feet, it can happen, okay? So that's why I wanted to share this with you. So that's how I started, right? It wasn't until about 1 year or 2 into my business of being a Scentsy consultant that I was like, okay, so I'd like gone to my first event. I'd gone to we called it Spring Sprint, but World Tour back then. I'd gone to a Spring Sprint. I hadn't yet been to an SFR, but just going to the Spring Sprint, I was like hooked. That was the community part, right? I was hooked. I was like, oh my gosh, there's people here who love this Scentsy stuff just as much as I do. And look at them. They're successful. Some of these people are doing it full time. Like, they were able to leave their jobs. Like, oh my gosh, this is possible. Like, this is real. So that's when my whole mindset changed. And you guys know, we talk about it a lot in the group, and you've probably seen it on other calls or other videos or trainings or whatever, right? It's the mindset change. It is a real, true thing, the mindset. You know, there's books written on it for everything, but when it really boils down to it, there is a mindset shift that has to happen. And it wasn't until I made that shift after that first in-person event with Scentsy that I was like, oh my goodness, if this person can do it, there's a possibility for me. And so because of that, I was like determined to make something of it, right? I was like, okay, some of these people have got it all figured out. If it can be possible for some people, there's gotta be a way I can at least have a piece of it, right? Maybe I won't ever be the top, of the company, but there's got to be a way that I've got to be able to get a piece of what they have. Now, looking back, I can tell you that yes, you can. Sometimes you can accidentally stumble into it, but it truly does take determination, intention, and consistency. And you really have to have that mindset shift, right? You have to be looking at this as a business if that's what you want. If you are just here for the community, if you are just here to get the consultant exclusive experience, right? Get the Scentsy you want, get like those consultant exclusive perks that we get, like scent and warmer of the month. And, sometimes we get to know about products before they come out. We get access to bars before they're released, right? All that fun stuff that comes with being a consultant versus a customer. Then that's fantastic, right? Stay in that bubble, stay in that place. You can ride that thing out. But just know that if you do decide, or if life changes, you can do more. And you just have to then change the way you look at Scentsy, right? It's no longer a hobby. It's more of I'm going to work this as my part-time or as a full-time type of income. Now, I have always, throughout my career with Scentsy, I've always worked full-time. Aside from 3 years. In 2019, my corporate job at the health system that I was with, that I had been with for 15 years, that I'd been working my way up through, right? They ended up outsourcing my staff, which then in turn outsourced me because there was no need for a manager for that stuff, right? So because I had the longevity with the company, I was offered a severance package, or I was offered, hey, you can go find another job within our community, right? And my husband and I had a good long heart to heart, and he was like, okay, if you're really passionate about this Scentsy thing, then, pour your heart into it. Let's do it. Let's see where it takes us. Use that money, my severance package, and we'll go with that and build your business, and let's see what happens. And I will tell you, I was so excited. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna be one of those people. I'm gonna be one of those people who this is my full-time job, right? I was so excited. 2 weeks into doing this full-time and working my Scentsy business full-time, I will tell you, Netflix was really cozy to me. Yes, it was. It was so cozy, and it was so easy, right? I'd wake up and I'd be like, oh, I don't have to set an alarm. This is wonderful. What do I want to work on today? Oh, maybe I'll do this. Oh, look, let me do some laundry, and let me take care of the house, and let me just sit down for a minute, and then I'd just get lost in the wonderland. So it's about 2 or 3 weeks in that I was like, okay, Jacqui, you got to pump the brakes. You have got to figure out some way to actually make this happen, because watching Netflix and hanging out around the house and doing a little bit of Scentsy here and there, it's not going to get you what you want. I'm a realist, right? I know that that wasn't going to get me to where I thought I wanted to be, right? Or where I needed to be. So for me, I knew that I'm a very structure-based person. I have to have structure in my life. Otherwise, it gives me anxiety. I don't need anything else that gives me anxiety, okay? So I started time blocking my day. I used my Google Calendar and my planner, and I would literally just sit there and say, okay, from this time to this time, I'm going to do this. From this time to this time, I'm going to do that. From this time to this time, so on and so forth, right? So every single day had a plan. It had a method to the madness, right? I had a focus point of every single day. And that's what I really worked on for those years. And I promoted to star director during that time. I built a team, I put my focus in, I put my intention in. And then into that 3 years, my husband ended up being let go from his job. And Scentsy was our only full-time income. And while Scentsy was providing a decent income for me, it wasn't going to be enough to sustain our family. So, as some of you can probably relate to, right? When financial matters come into hands, right? Things get stressful. You can get depressed. You can go into a whole nother state of nothing's going to work for me. This is awful. You know, all the things that we tell ourselves every single day, right? And so I knew I had to go back to work. I knew that was something I was going to have to do. And I was so scared. So I was like, oh my gosh, I have built my business to this point, right? I have built my business and I've been doing so well. What is this going to look like if I go back to work? Like, is it all going to go away? Spoiler alert, it did not go away. But that's because I have intention and dedication and consistency in my business. So a day in the life as a star director, right? I work full time. I work full time for another hospital, for another health system. I actually work in the operating room, which is kind of like a home base for me, because when I started out in the world of healthcare in the hospital setting, I started out in the emergency room, and so being in that fast-paced environment, it just really, it charges me up. I truly enjoy that. I enjoy that aspect. So the operating room is like a home away from home for me. I absolutely love it. I love the nurses, the staff, the surgeons, the everybody that I work with. I absolutely adore them. But I will say it is 40 hours, right? And I don't have, as you can imagine, in an operating room setting, right? I don't have the luxury to be on my phone all day. I don't have the luxury of always being able to check Facebook messages or, you know, emails and all of that, right? Now, I can from time to time, and I do try my best, because in the back of my head, I'm like, I got a business that I have to run, right? But I don't have a lot of that free time during the hours that I'm at work. So when I have breaks, when I take my lunch break, I will tell you that my lunch break is spent. I take my iPad with me. My iPad goes to work with me every single day. My AirPods, my AirPods go to work with me every single day. And during lunch break, this is how you can find me. You can find me with my AirPods. You can find me with my iPad, sitting there eating my lunch in the cafeteria, sometimes in the break room, just kind of depends on how busy it is. And I'm usually listening to a training on the, like maybe one that I've missed throughout the week, or I'm looking on YouTube. And that is what I'm doing during my lunch break. Because the way that I built my business was this, right? Remember, I built my business working full time and doing this. So for me, it was really a natural thing for me to just kind of throw Scentsy into the middle of my working shift, right? So during that lunch break, yes, that's where you'll see me. And some days, I've got my notebook out as well, and I'm making notes as I'm watching a video, or if I don't have my notebook, because I don't always take it with me every time. I've got the notes app, so I'm typing and I'm watching and I'm taking notes. Like, that's how I am able to get caught up on what's going on. Some days it looks like I might be placing orders for customers, right? So, because we do have limited time, specials that are happening, right? Where we've got pre-orders, or I've got things that I need to get done, or I've got a party that I need to close, things like that. That might be what I'm doing on my lunch break. But I will tell you, while I could be spending that lunch break talking to coworkers or just zoning out or watching something on Netflix or anything like that, I choose to put Scentsy first. That's a choice, because my mindset is Scentsy is still what pays our house payment every single month. So in the back of my mind, I'm always telling myself, Scentsy is there, right? I got home from work earlier, and my husband and Madison, who's 13 now, right? She was little when I started, right? But I get home and they're both like, oh, just go relax, go unwind from your day. And I'm like, no, y'all, I can't unwind from a day. I got my other job I go to now, right? I come into my office. Here I am doing this video right now, because this is my secondary job. Because my mindset is, this is what pays our house payment, right? So I have to be dedicated. Would I love to be sitting out there in the living room right now, or getting ready to start dinner right now? Of course. Am I going to have to start dinner here soon? Yes, of course. People need to eat, right? But usually a day in the life looks like this for me. So I wake up about 6:30 in the morning. I am not a person who likes to take a lot of time getting ready. Plus, I work in the OR, okay? So in the operating room, we have to be sterile, right? We have to change out into scrubs when we get there. We're not one of those cool nurses that get to like wear scrubs home and do that whole thing and get the cute scrubs or the cute scrub tops, right? No, we dress out in operating room scrubs. So I literally just have to do makeup and hair. Okay, so I wake up in enough time to do makeup and hair and grab a lunch and grab my stuff and get out the door. Like, I don't spend a whole lot of time in the morning, and I'm not a morning person. So I do that. I get ready. I get to work. We change out. So I get to wear pajamas to work and home from work, or whatever I choose, because I get changed there. So when I get home, I get off sometimes, usually right around 4:30. I only live 7 minutes from the hospital that I work at, so it's literally a quick drive home. And then I come in. If my husband's home, right now it's summer break, right? Madison's home, so I kind of do a quick, rundown with them when I get home. And then the first hour of my evening is spent here in my office. On Tuesdays, it is team focused, so that's why I do my Tuesday team training. So even though this particular video, normally when I didn't have that full-time job, I was doing it in like every afternoon on a Tuesday. I was like, okay, it doesn't matter if I have a job or I don't have a job, I still do a training on Tuesday. That's just how it is, right? I make time to do what I need to do. So the first hour of my day is spent in here. And on Tuesdays, it's doing this video. On other days, each day has a focus for me. So some days it's follow-up. So that means I'm coming in here. I am looking at my workstation. Like, I've got my workstation pulled up right now on the computer, right? So I've got the workstation pulled up. I actually went back because I'm not in my office all day, every day, right? Anymore. So I went back to go into a binder system. So that's what I have here. So I have my binder system with coaching calls, with Scentsy Club, with PRV follow-ups. This is how I track Literally everything is in my binder system, okay? So I have that. So whether I'm doing follow-ups, whether I'm doing training, whether I am focused on personal development, whether I am focused on reaching out, closing parties, doing my personal business, all of that stuff. Each day has a different focus. And so that's what I do during that first hour that I get home. After that is dinner, and it's usually like a cleanup. You know, I do any little household stuff that needs to get done, right? So whether or not that's laundry, vacuuming, depends on the day. I also, you know, kind of time block that too. And then in the evenings, on, I don't know, 3 nights, at least 3 nights a week, I have meetings in the evenings that are a non-negotiable for me in my business. Just like this Tuesday training, it's a non-negotiable. It has to happen every single week. Those meetings have to happen for me. So I have to show up to those things because my business is important. I am intentional. I am dedicated. I am consistent in what I'm doing to forward my business, right? To keep it moving, to keep it in constant motion. Because here's the thing, you guys, if you let your business get stagnant, it's really hard, and I'll talk in a little bit of healthcare terms, right? It's really hard to revive someone, right? That's why they call it like a code blue, okay? Y'all have probably, even if you're not medical or anything, right? You've heard the term code blue, right? That's when you're trying to jumpstart life again, okay? It's much easier to have that patient alive and well and take care of them than it is to jumpstart them into their life, right? Okay, so I don't want to have to jumpstart my business. I want my business to be going on a consistent level. And so that means that, yeah, there's going to be evenings where, sure, I'd love to be out there sitting on the couch, watching TV, relaxing, not doing anything, watching something mindless. I don't care. But I have a business that has to happen over here, right? So this stuff has to get done. So, like I said, 3 to sometimes 4 nights a week. The evenings after dinner are spent right back here in the office, coming on for a training, or I'm doing a training, or there's just stuff that I need to continue doing, right? That I still got to get the follow-ups done, or I still got to do my swag bags, or I need to follow up with my host and see if she's ready to close her party. All of those things still have to take place. And then the evening comes where I usually try to allot myself a good 45 minutes to an hour to literally just relax and then go to bed and start all over again. That's Monday through Friday, guys. That's Monday through Friday. Now the weekends obviously are a little bit more time lenient. I have weekends off, okay? So Saturdays and Sundays, yeah, I do take some time to decompress, to reset, recharge. But a lot of that work may not be done in my office, but it is also done when I am out on the couch, maybe maxing and relaxing. But I've got my iPad with me and I'm still doing work while I'm relaxing. So it's a little bit of a laid back working, okay? That is how I continue to keep my business running month after month, year after year. That's how my business continues to grow with my customer base, with working with team members that are joining me, with working with team members that are joining my downline, right? So my team members who are doing sponsoring and things like that, right? How can I really reach out to everybody? How can I make sure that I'm doing all the things? And so to keep myself on track, you know, I've got my binder system. That's kind of more my personal business, right? A lot of my follow-up is done in that binder system. But outside of that, I utilize Trello. And that's how I know at the beginning of the month, at the middle of the month, and the end of the month, there are like set things that I do every single time. So the beginning of the month usually is kind of fed with, you know, how am I setting up the month? How am I planning? What am I working towards? I've got this big acrylic dry erase board behind me, right? And a lot of that is more visual for me, but it's really, what am I focusing on this month, right? So I'm looking at that planning ahead document. What do I want to focus on? What are the things? What are the LTOs that are coming out that I need to be prepared for? What are, you know, the major things? What specials are we running? Are we doing a join special, a host special? You know, what's going on there? What are my personal goals for a business? All of that lives up there on that board, right? So every time I walk into this room, I see that board. And it's just that visual reminder of this is what I'm working on. So when I come in here after a long day of work, sometimes it can be more mentally draining than anything, right? But after a long day of work, I can come in here and know, okay, Mondays, all right, Mondays, I got to put my work hat on. And Mondays for me are more personal development, right? It's more of my personal business and my personal development. So what am I doing in my business? Where are we at, right? Setting up parties, doing any scheduling of posts, things like that. That all kind of falls into that personal business / development day on Mondays. Tuesdays are all about team, so it's about team recognition. It's about doing this Tuesday training. It's about meeting up with fellow directors and above. We do a collab every single Tuesday evening. Wednesdays are all about follow-up for me, and we do have a work at Wednesday that I'm usually always on unless something else has come up that takes precedence. And so I know that I definitely have a dedicated hour that I usually spend like doing the sample work, doing the fun part of the Scentsy job, right? That's the fun part. So that over the weekend, I made up some washer with samples. I use just these little plastic cylinders with lids that I get off of Amazon. You can see I just filled them up with washer whiffs. So as you can see though, they're unlabeled. So I still have to get those labels. I'm waiting until tomorrow, which is Wednesday, right? So work at Wednesday. I'll be making labels and getting that stuff packaged up and ready to go out into swag bags and also thank you bags for some of my VIP customers. So those are the things like Wednesday is really that for me, right? So that's really where I do more of that hands-on fun work. Thursdays are really all about, for me, more social media. So I am usually looking to see, like, do I need to upload any videos to YouTube? What are my posts looking like? How am I engaging on my social media? What's been working so far with that social media or that marketing aspect, right? Do I need to print any flyers? What's going, you know, again, I'm kind of referencing back, like what's going on this month, right? Looking at that planning ahead document, all of that stuff is kind of a brainchild of Thursdays. And then for Fridays, it really is kind of like more of a catch-all day for me. What didn't I get done during the week? And so that's where my focus is. So again, Monday through Friday, when I get home and that first hour is spent in here, or sometimes after dinner hours are spent in here, right? All of that work every single day, those are the things that are happening during those days. It works for me. I still have to, as a star director, I have to have my personal business, because if I'm not working my business, there's no way I'm going to be paid a title, right? First and foremost. I always, just like any of you who are a leader above, if you want to be paid a title, you have to do a minimum of 500 PRV every single month, right? Every single one of us, star directors, superstar directors, all of us are having to work our personal business. We can't just sit back and let things happen. Okay, just because I'm a star director doesn't mean that I don't have to be working and paying attention to my business every single day. I do. I most certainly do. And I need to be, because I want my business to continue growing. Again, that's what pays our house payment every single month, right? And that's a pretty big deal. It's a pretty big deal. Now, between my job and my husband's career, right, we live a very comfortable life. That is very, very comfortable. But we do all of these things because we have goals for our family. We have things that we want to do with our family. We want to be able to spend a Christmas on a getaway. Those are the things that we want for our family, right? And so in order to make those things happen, we have to be dialed in to what we're doing to bring that income into our household. This is one of the bigger things, you guys. And it didn't just come by accident. Yes, I kind of stumbled into, oh my gosh, this is a business. But I will tell you that it's taken a lot of hard work, determination, and consistency to be able to not only maintain, but to continue to grow month after month. You guys have heard, I know, not just from me, but from other people as well, right? You're not in competition with anybody here, right? This is not a competition type of a thing in Scentsy world. This isn't what we do. I'm not competing against another consultant. Every single month, I am competing against myself. I am competing in this month, in June, to beat what I did in May. So I'm looking to beat my PRV, my TWV, my GWV. How many people did I sponsor? Those are all of the things that I am looking at. I'm not looking at anybody else. I'm not chasing anybody else's dream but my own. And when you have that mindset going, everything else becomes white noise in the background. When you focus on you and your business and not what they're doing or what their posts look like or what their happy mail looks like over there, and you're focused on you and your customers, what's the saying that you always hear, right? The grass is greener. The grass is greener where you water it. So where are you watering? Are you watering your own personal sales? Are you watering your team? Are you watering your group? If you have a group, right? That's different from your team. What are you watering? Because that's where you're going to see the growth. That is where the grass is truly going to be greener, because you're focusing on those things. So if you guys are caught up, and I know this happens because I've found myself in that trap dozens of times over the years that I've been a consultant, a comparison, and oh my gosh, their graphics look so much better, and they always have the cutest stickers, and oh my gosh, their posts do so much better than mine, and they're so good at making reels, and they're blah 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 blah. You could do that all day long, friends. Don't do it. If you find yourself doing it, no. Tell yourself no. You are not in competition with anyone. You are simply trying to build your business. And when you focus on your personal business and your world and your customers, that is where you are going to find the growth. So if you find yourself being stagnant, if you find yourself kind of hitting that plateau and you're not gaining new customers, or sales are down, or no one seems to be interested in joining your team, well, that's what you know you need to focus on in that moment or next month. Like I said, I am in competition with the Jacqui from May in June. This month. That's the competition I'm in with, right? What were my numbers in June? What did my May look like? What were my numbers in May? Where was that? Where did we end up? What did I do? Did I gain any new customers? Did I have anyone who joined my team? What did it look like? If it's working well, how can I continue doing that? What worked well that I can expand upon in this coming month? That's what goes up on this board. That's what goes in my planner. Those are the things that I'm focusing on Monday through Friday. That's what I focus on. So a day in the life of Jacqui as a star director is all of that. And that sounds like a lot, right? And it is a lot. It does take time. It takes time away from my family. It takes time away from me being a grandma. It takes time. But you have to be committed to what it is that you really want. What do you really want? Why do you want to have this Scentsy business? Why do you want to have this income or this community? Fill in the blank. Why do you want that? If you have a reason for what you're working towards, then you can focus on what you need to do to get to where you want to be. And yes, it's going to take time. It's going to take hard work, and it's going to take consistency. But I will be the first one to tell you, I never thought I had that in me. Never. When I clicked that join button, I can guarantee you, I never would have thought that I would say, I'm Jacqui Duran. I'm a star director with Scentsy. Never. Never, 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 ever would have guessed that. But I can tell you what. I can tell you that I am a completely different person than when I clicked that join button. As we work this business, my friend Texas was reminding me last week when we were chatting, when you're working this business, and most of us, we don't know, we're not pros at Instagram or YouTube or Facebook or marketing or direct sales or follow-up or any of that stuff, right? We're not experts on that. I'd never been doing any of that stuff in my life before doing Scentsy. So I had to learn how to do that. But the experience that I've learned along the way, oh my goodness. I excel at marketing. I excel at social media. I excel at public speaking. It's not because I was born with it. It's because I've learned how to be the best that I can possibly be for me and my business. And you guys, that is priceless. Absolutely priceless. So when you're looking at what your business is, I want you to really look at what your business is. It's opportunities for you. In this community, if you are watching this video right now, then you have a wealth of opportunities for growth. There are trainings that you can dial into. There are different videos you can watch. There's a training center. There's different programs that are always going on. There's so much that you can get involved with every single week, every single month. So where do you want to focus? Where do you want to get better at? You have to make the decision, not me, not your sponsor, not anybody else but you. Because I can sit here and tell you, do this, do that, it'll be great, you'll be fine. But if you don't do it, it's not going to happen. And everybody has a unique story in this business. Everybody has a unique journey in this business. But I will tell you that the majority of the people who are excelling in this business will tell you the same. That it didn't just happen one day. They didn't just wake up and have a team of people. They didn't just wake up and have customers who were wanting to order. It took them being dedicated, doing follow-ups, putting in the work, day after day, week after week, month after month. So be dedicated. Decide where you want to be, where you want this business to take you. And then put in the work. Because I can tell you right now, and I know Lisa can also tell you right now, we want to work with the people who want to put in the work. If you want to put in the work, we are here for you. Because we want to do this with you. We have the outlook of doing this together, not alone, together. And that's what we're here for. So a day in the life may look crazy. It may look like a lot. Maybe it exhausts you just from hearing about it. Some days it exhausts me just thinking about it. But let me tell you, every single month I am grateful for the hard work that I put in. I am grateful for the things that I've done in my business and how I've pushed myself to get to where I wanted to be. And you can do the same. All right, guys, that's what I have for you this Tuesday training. Don't forget, every single Tuesday, this is what you get. New topic, new training. Same place. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.